Starting today, my parents will be living together in this house. Even if you say that, what about your mother's care? You're a housewife, so you can do it. Don't burden my father too much because he has weak legs. My husband decided to live with my parents-in-law without consulting me. My mother-in-law needs nursing care, and my father-in-law leaves the air conditioner on all the time in spite of saving money, so I get stressed every day. One day, a big problem arose between my father-in-law and me. When I consulted my husband about it, I am a 34-year-old part-time worker. Currently, I live with my husband and we are in our first year of marriage. We met at the same workplace and started dating right away. After 3 years of dating, we decided to get married. With marriage, I switched to a part-time job and took care of the housework. We both think we don't need children, and we rent an apartment rather than buying a house. We have many shared ideas about our future life, and we were able to spend our first year of marriage without any problems. So, I thought marriage was wonderful. I was really happy. I spent my days thinking that, but around the end of the first year, things started to go in a bad direction. Hey, did you buy a new golf bag?
Yeah,
Isn't it great? Huh. Not just the bag, I also renewed everything inside. It was quite expensive, but I worked hard every day. Huh? Did you renew everything? He renewed everything. Aren't golf supplies quite expensive? I don't play golf, so I don't know. A friend told me that you can't play golf if you don't have enough money. Certainly, he works hard all the time, and I don't mind spending money on hobbies, but if you're going to move a lot of money, I want you to consult with me a little.
how much was it?
Around $1,500?
What, $1,500?
Really?
It's a little more expensive, but it's the first investment. That's not the problem, why didn't you consult me? It's my money, and I'm not touching the living expenses, so it's okay, right? That's not the problem. I'm angry because he's acting selfishly. We're married, so it's natural to consult with me about each action and money. And even though his salary alone is tough, I'm working part-time to cover food and electricity bills. Why can he do such a selfish thing? I want to travel and eat delicious food too. I didn't have any complaints about my husband for this past year, but my dissatisfaction has been building up little by little since this incident. One day, a month had passed. On that day, I had trouble with the register at work and ended up coming home more than an hour late. My husband had contacted me, and when I hurried home, my parents-in-law were there. My mother-in-law said, "Sorry to bother you." I replied, "Long time no see." My husband said, "What were you doing until this late when my mother and father are here?" "I'm starving." I said, "Sorry. I had a problem at work." My husband said, "You're a housewife, so hurry up." Even if he said that, I had my reasons for being late. Besides, he came home without overtime, so I wanted him to help with the housework a little, but he was just relaxing. He didn't even tell me that his parents were coming, and I was a little surprised that he was doing such selfish things. His parents were also a source of concern. They came to visit without permission and stayed until late at night, even though I had work the next morning. It's not like they're bullying me, and my husband is looking forward to his parents' visit, so I don't want to say anything, but if you ask me if I'm not feeling any stress at all, that's not true. My husband said, "Can you buy some wine? There's only one bottle left." I said, "What? Now?" My husband said, "Yes. It's Friday, so it's okay." I said, "It's already 11 p.m. Are you planning to drink until morning?" "I have work tomorrow morning." My husband said, "Since my parents are here, don't say anything that will ruin the atmosphere." I was busy with work and housework this morning, and I was tired because I worked for more than an hour due to trouble today. I want to sleep because I have to get up early tomorrow, but I don't even have time to take a bath. If I try to sleep, I'll be scolded for ruining the atmosphere. It's really tiring. Let me rest a little at night. I'm different from my husband who sleeps until noon on holidays and goes to play golf in the afternoon. When we were married for less than a year, I was not irritated by my husband's actions, but recently, I feel more dissatisfied than happy. One day, about a year had passed. On that day, my husband came home for lunch. He didn't contact me, and I was surprised when he came home with a pale face. As soon as he entered the house, he spoke slowly. "My older brother passed away." I said, "What? Your brother?" My husband said, "He died in a traffic accident."
I couldn't say anything to my husband, who told me that his kind and healthy older brother had died. At first, I couldn't believe it, but when I saw my husband's face, I knew it was true. My husband loved his family so much that he was deeply depressed, and I thought he might not be able to recover for a while. I swore to myself that I had to support my husband, and we had to support each other as a couple. I felt that way and stayed by my husband's side more than ever. I did everything I could to lighten my husband's burden. I did everything I could to help him, such as helping with the funeral and talking to a lawyer about inheritance, and 3 months had passed. My husband said, "Hey, my parents are coming here this evening. Prepare some food and stuff." I said, "Huh?" My husband said, "I have to go. See you later." And he went somewhere. He didn't tell me where he was going, and I wondered what was going on with his parents coming. Maybe they're coming to eat after a long time. I thought so and hurried to the store to prepare dinner. His parents must be mentally exhausted after seeing their own child's death. I prepared their favorite food and wine, which my husband told me about. Then, around 6:30 p.m. that day, my husband came home with his parents. "I have a lot of luggage, so help me a little," he said. Luggage? What's all this big luggage for? Well, we're going to live in this house from today, so I brought a lot of things. The rest of the luggage is still at my parents' house, but I plan to bring it in tomorrow. What? What does it mean to live together in this house from today? I haven't heard such a story. My husband was carrying the luggage as if it were natural, and there was no greeting or explanation from my parents-in-law. I was the only one who didn't know what was going on and was in a state of confusion, so I helped carry the luggage into the house. What does it mean to live together from now on? I haven't heard anything about it. There are extra rooms, so it's okay. That's not the point. Explain it properly. Why did you decide to live together? And what about money? I don't hate his parents, but it's a different story if we're going to live together. I have my own private life, and if we're going to live together from now on, I have to prepare myself for various things. For my husband, they are his real parents, so it may not matter, but for me, they are my in-laws, strangers I've never met before I got married. It should be easy to understand if he thinks about it a little. My husband seemed to be thinking only about himself. I felt that way from the time I was carrying the luggage, but my mother-in-law's behavior was a little strange. She usually greets me right away when she sees my face, but today she completely ignored me. She looked at me with eyes that seemed to be looking at a stranger. Did I do something? Or did she feel uncomfortable seeing my face because I couldn't hide my dissatisfaction with the sudden visit of my parents-in-law? Anyway, it's not a situation where I can understand it without an explanation from my husband.
Actually, my mother seems to have developed dementia. So my father asked us to live together and take care of her. Dementia. Yes, that's right. So we have to take care of her. You could have consulted me. Even if I consulted you, the result wouldn't change, would it? Certainly. I understand what my husband is saying. But that doesn't mean he can make such an important decision without telling me. Even a child should understand that. He's not living alone, so I want him to think a little more about me. And if my mother-in-law needs care, there should have been a way to hire a caregiver. Or they could have sold their house and moved near us. I'm not working full-time, but I'm busy with housework and part-time work every day. And there's only one room for one person left. I think it's too small for my parents-in-law. It's not an easy decision to make.
I've been thinking about it for a while now, but why is my husband so selfish? Even if I did the same thing, he would definitely get angry. He thinks he can do anything and get away with it. Maybe this is my husband's true nature that I didn't notice. When I think about it, I'm worried about the future. But there's nothing I can do about what's already moved in. So, are you sure you've settled the money issue from now on? Well, they said they'd pay for their own money, so there's no problem, right? Really? My older brother wasn't married, so it seems like a lot of inheritance came to my parents. So it should be fine. We didn't have that much financial leeway, so it's helpful that they'll pay for their own living expenses. Well, if they had relied on us for everything, I wouldn't have kept quiet. For now, I've made up my mind to live with my parents-in-law and started living together. But, this cohabitation was not a good thing. Hey. You had a fight with your father today, didn't you? It's not a fight. He ordered pizza delivery on his own and told me to pay for it. It's not once or twice. If they're going to order luxury items, they have to pay for them themselves. My mother-in-law has dementia, but she was always quiet and didn't cause me much trouble. But the problem is my father-in-law. Although he said they would pay for their own living expenses, that was not the case at all. I don't use the air conditioner to reduce utility costs, but my father-in-law doesn't think about utility costs at all, leaving the door open and turning on the air conditioner, turning on the lights even during the day. And I have to pay for things like pizza delivery on my own. He makes excuses that he doesn't have cash. At first, I put up with my father-in-law's behavior, but my stress has been building up little by little. Since we're letting them live here, I want them to respect me a little bit. I'm not asking them to do housework or pay rent. Just do your own thing. That's all. However, even if I say that, my father-in-law doesn't listen at all, and my husband just takes my father-in-law's side instead of me.
It's okay to pay a little more. I'm paying for it with my part-time job salary. And I haven't been paid back. Why are you so stingy? Stingy? Who do you think is feeding you? You'd better understand that. What are you talking about? Does he want to say that it's all thanks to him? If my husband is earning all the rent and living expenses and has a housekeeper, I can live without doing anything, then my husband's argument is correct. But how much am I contributing? And yet he makes such condescending remarks about me. I was already dissatisfied with his selfish behavior, and I was irritated by my father-in-law's behavior. If they don't need me that much, I'll leave. I made up my mind and packed my bags right away. My husband doesn't even try to stop me from leaving. I thought he would try to stop me a little, but if he doesn't, I can leave with a clear conscience. With that feeling, I headed to a business hotel. Then, since my best friend from high school was still single, I decided to stay at her house for a while. I'm really glad I have a reliable friend like her at times like this. One day, about a week had passed with such thoughts. My husband, who had not contacted me at all until then, called me. Hello. When are you coming back? What? It's tough because you're not here. Come back soon. He didn't contact me for a week, and there was no apology. He's really finished as a person. Well, I'm not expecting anything from my husband now, and even if he apologizes, I won't accept it. Why do I have to come back? Because it's costing us a lot of money since you left. The bill for utilities came 2 days ago, and it's too expensive. Unlike me, there are people who always use the air conditioner. And meals. If you eat out every day, it's bound to be expensive. Because my husband's income was low, I paid for our living expenses with my part-time job salary. That's why I went shopping at the supermarket when the sale started, and I tried to reduce utility costs as much as possible. I cut down on the money I could cut down on. If he thought he could live the same way even if I was gone, he was wrong. He seems to have realized how much I did in just 1 week. But it's too late now. He needs to understand what they have done to me. Before you tell me to come back, don't you have anything to apologize to me? You're the one who left on your own, so you should apologize. We've been in trouble since you left. You're the one who kicked me out, right? You're just making excuses. I see. He doesn't even feel like apologizing even after saying all that. If he wants me to come back, it's normal to apologize and show sincerity, even if it's just words. Is it because he has a high pride or because he's stupid? Well, either way, I didn't feel like going back to that house even a little bit. I thought it would be okay to do whatever he wanted, but before that, I decided to tell him one important thing. I'll send you the divorce papers by mail, so please sign them as they are. But before that, I'll tell you something important. Your parents don't have any money. What? I don't understand what you're talking about with divorce. And what do you mean they don't have any money? They're not refusing to pay for their living expenses, they just can't afford it. We had an argument because they ordered pizza delivery on their own and couldn't pay for it. He got angry and told me. Apparently, all the inheritance they received from your older brother was used to pay off their debt. The moment I said that, my husband fell silent. I think he's probably panicking with a pale face on the other end of the phone. And that's because, according to my husband, his older brother had a considerable fortune, and his parents misunderstood that they had a huge inheritance. Rather than a misunderstanding. His older brother should have inherited a lot of assets right after he died. However, there was something that my husband didn't know. That is, his parents had a large amount of debt and were unable to live, so they were receiving allowances from his older brother. I learned about this story only recently, but I was really surprised when I heard it from my father-in-law. Moreover, the debt was caused by my father-in-law's gambling. I can't trust someone who gambles, and if I see that he's making me pay without permission, I think it's true. But this is a fact. Well, the cost of care will increase from now on, but how are you going to live alone? I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I don't have to tell you. And what's this about divorce? I don't recognize it. If you don't recognize it, I'll have the court recognize it. I'll always have a lawyer and go to court for a divorce trial. When I said that, my husband fell silent, so I hung up the phone. After that, I ignored several calls. I was surprisingly refreshed because I was able to hang up the phone in a way that cleared all my frustrations. Then I told my part-time job that I was quitting and moving to the countryside. Fortunately, I was able to find a work-at-home job while living with my best friend, so I'm now living a simple but enjoyable life while doing that job. After the move was completed and my life settled down, I sent my husband a divorce notice. I wrote that I was claiming damages for what had happened so far and that if he didn't respond to the discussion, I would go to court for a divorce trial. After that, my husband called me back in a rage, but he didn't have the money or time to go to court, so he agreed to pay the damages in installments. The divorce papers were submitted without incident, and we were able to break off our relationship. According to a story I heard from a mutual acquaintance, my ex-husband quit his job. This is because after that, my father-in-law's leg became bad, and both parents needed nursing care. It's impossible to work and take care of two people, so he seems to be desperately taking care of them while receiving welfare benefits. Especially with my father-in-law, there seems to be a lot of trouble over my brother-in-law's inheritance. However, my ex-husband, who has become an only child, has a duty to take care of his parents, so he can't abandon them. I think it's tough, but he has brought it on himself, so he should suffer for the rest of his life. By the way, I'm living a relaxing life in the quiet countryside. I don't know if I'll get remarried, but for now, I just want to spend my time alone and relaxed. How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.